Hello everyone, I'm JG and welcome back to Music Forever, where today I'm bringing you guys a brand new update video for my CD and vinyl collections. It's been a good while since I've done one of these. I think it's been about a year actually since my last update video, the longest amount of time between updates. And that's mostly just been because over the past year and a half or so, I haven't really been buying as many physical pieces of music as I have in the past, mostly because I've been buying a few more digital purchases, especially on Bandcamp when they were having those. I believe it was the first Friday of every month. They were giving all the profits made to the artist, selling the music because of the pandemic going on, and that was something I really liked. I bought a lot of music through that, and lots of the stuff I was interested in purchasing there was purely digital stuff. So I just ended up not getting a lot of physical pieces of music over the past year and a half or so. So it's been a little bit since I've really had enough pieces of music to talk in a video like this, but here we are. I have some new records and CDs that I wanted to show off. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the first record I want to show you guys. The first record I want to show off is actually the newest addition to my collection. It is the Graffiti mix by Blair. He dropped an EP titled Graffiti that I actually reviewed on the channel. It was just 3 tracks, but this is like the extended version of that. It's a full mix with multiple more tracks on it in addition to those 3. And overall, it's good stuff here. I kind of regret not talking about the fuller version of this on the channel at any point prior. Maybe at some point in the future I'll have a lengthier chance to do so. But yeah, this was a cool thing for me to get. The packaging here on this isn't, the most elaborate. Like here you could just see it has this like black outer sleeve basically, and on the inside you could see the record itself. On the back side, it's basically the same thing, just the inside part there is a different color. You could open it up, take the record out and all that stuff, but I'm not going to bother just because it's on black vinyl. Nothing super interesting to see there with that, just the color of the inner part of the record, which you could already see there. Yeah, so the packaging here on this isn't like the most ridiculously colorful or artsy or anything like that, but the music is pretty good, and at the end of the day, that's really all I care for. The next record that I want to show off is Clipping with their record Visions of Bodies Being Burned, an excellent follow-up to their project, There Exists an Addiction to Blood, that dropped a year prior to this one. As soon as this went on sale for pre-order, I knew it was one I needed to get, and considering that I don't typically pre-order records, that really speaks, I guess, to the quality of this album's counterpart release, as well as the lead single from this thing that I believe dropped around the same time as the pre-orders went up. Yeah, I knew I needed to get a copy of this, and I'm very happy that I did, because this ended up being one of my favorite releases of last year. And fortunately, not only is the music on this thing good, but also the record itself is really nice as well. Love the artwork there on the front. The backside looks pretty great as well. And of course, you could open this up to get some more artwork on the inside too. For example, there you can see there's some little pictures in there. And I really like the records that come with this thing as well. They come on this orange colored record here. As you can see, it also has like some red splatters in there as well. Looks really nice. I think it fits the like horror themed lyrics on this project as well. It looks really like Halloween like in a way, which is just an added bonus. I like colored records. I think they look pretty nice, but I especially like when the color of them fits in some way with the record itself too. Another interesting thing about this is that like the sides of the record are labeled like side E and F, for example, as if they're like following after the records that came in the vinyl release of the previous project, There Exists an Addiction to Blood. And I just thought that was a neat little detail too. It kind of feels like one big continuous release when you put it all together, and that's just pretty neat. One thing I found interesting about this vinyl release though, compared to the release for There Exists an Addiction to Blood, is that like the intro track on this here is kept, whereas I believe on that release for There Exists an Addiction to Blood, the intro was like cut. I think it was just to keep that record, able to fit onto the actual vinyl itself, because that's a lengthier project than this one by a little bit. And I just thought that was a kind of interesting choice, not that I'm complaining. And as I said when I talked about the vinyl release of There Exists an Addiction to Blood, I believe in my last update video, or maybe the one before that, I thought that that record was still pretty okay with the intro and some of those skits cut. And it's not the biggest deal in the world to me. I just thought it was kind of interesting. And of course, the records themselves come in like these orange colored sleeves, which as you can see on this side, it's just all orange. The back side has credits for the tracks that happen to appear on the record itself. yeah, overall, it's just a really great package, and the music itself too is really excellent as well. The next record I want to show off is another one of my favorites of last year, Gorillaz with their record Song Machine Season 1. Really liked this project, felt like it was probably the best Gorillaz record since Plastic Beach. Really captured what I like about this group, that being the mix of their core sound with a bunch of different collaborating artists and all of that. I did a whole review of the record, so if you want to see my further thoughts on it, just check that out. But the vinyl package here for this is pretty nice too. Oh, this is just the standard edition of the record too, by the way. I know there was a deluxe release. I didn't bother to get that. I believe it was also sold out by the time I got a chance to get this too. But yeah, I wasn't super interested in getting the deluxe version. Not that I dislike the deluxe tracks or anything, but I'm fine with just the standard edition. And the artwork there is pretty nice. The backside has some pretty great artwork on it too. And inside here, you get some more really nice artwork in the sleeve for the record as well. As you can see there, you got some nice artwork. Backside has some more artwork in addition to some credits too. Pretty standard stuff. The record itself is on black vinyl, so I won't bother showing it off. But yeah, the packaging here for this is pretty simple but pretty effective, and the music itself is great, so I don't really have any complaints. The next record that I want to show off is Iron Maiden with Somewhere in Time. This is an album that is generally well liked by fans of the band, but I never really see anyone say it's their favorite release from them, which personally for me it is my favorite Iron Maiden record. Not to say that they don't have a lot of other great records that come very close to being my favorite, but something about this one has just always clicked with me just a little bit more than some of their other best releases. I'm not sure, maybe it's the kind of like futuristic aesthetic that some of these tracks happen to have, with the synth guitars being worked into the band for the first time, or just some of the more adventurous ideas on the same that they hadn't explored before. I don't know, something about this record just kind of clicks with me in a way that their other releases, while I do really love some of those other releases, they don't just hit the same sweet spot that this record does for me, and I've always favored this one over some of the others because of it. And I was really happy to, eventually pick this up on vinyl, and it's a really good release. I love the artwork here on this thing. I love especially getting to see it up close. The backside here has even more artwork, and one thing I love about the artwork here on this record is just how many references are packed into this thing to like previous artwork from the band, previous songs from them as well. Just tons of stuff. You could spend a very long time looking over this artwork, just trying to find every little reference to something that they've done before. And of course you don't have to own a copy of this on vinyl to do it. I'm sure you could look up these images online and do it yourself if you're a fan of the band. But yeah, it's just a little something fun you could do if you happen to have this on vinyl. Especially, maybe if you're listening to the record and you want a little something extra to do with your time, you could do that. And inside here you have this really interesting picture of the group. It's definitely very 80s. It's certainly fits with the record's aesthetic, I guess. Kind of funny. Yeah, there's not much else I could say about that, really. The image just speaks for itself. And on the backside here of this, you have lyrics and credits and all of that good stuff. Your typical things that come with a record. The record itself is just on black vinyl. I won't bother showing that to you guys. But overall, this was a really good release, in my opinion. Love the record. Love the packaging here on this thing. Especially love the artwork. Yeah, I don't really have any complaints. The next project I want to show off is Queens of the Stone Age with their record Lullabies, the Paralyze. Not my favorite Queens of the Stone Age record, not even my second favorite Queens of the Stone Age record, but I already own my first two favorite releases from this band on vinyl, and this is my third favorite record from them. So yeah, this was the next one for me to logically pick up, and again, this is another really great release from them. Like the artwork on this. The backside has the track list with another picture there. You can open this thing up to get some credits on the inside, as well as some really interesting artwork. Not quite sure what's going on here. It's like some goat mask thing in the middle of like a pentagram with like bear paws in every corner. Very bizarre, but it kind of fits with the aesthetic and feel of this release. The records themselves are on black vinyl, so again, I won't bother showing them. But one interesting thing about this particular release of the record is that it includes bonus tracks, but the interesting part about it really is that, you know, unlike most releases which tack on the bonus tracks at the end, the bonus tracks are like included as part of like the normal track list, like they're mixed in there to create like this extended version of the record. And there's, you know, a good few of them here. There's like 3 or 4 bonus tracks here on this thing. And I think the bonus tracks here are pretty solid, but personally, I kind of wish that they had been tacked on to the end of the release, just because I feel like it kind of unnecessarily makes the record longer than it needs to be in some regards. And personally, while I do really like this record, one minor complaint that I've always had with it is that the standard edition has always felt just maybe a little bit too long for its own good, and adding in all these bonus tracks certainly doesn't help that, even if the songs themselves are pretty decent. It's just kind of an odd choice, in my opinion, just to kind of include these songs at random points in the release of the record. And I don't think they like interrupt with the flow in any sort of way all that much. It's not like the transitions between tracks are all that awkward now that these songs have been added, but again, it's just kind of a bizarre choice. Again, I really wish that they had been included at the very end of this thing on like their own side of one of the records or something like that. That way, if I wanted to listen to them, I could, but also if I just wanted to listen to like the standard edition of this thing as originally, you know, released, I could do that as well. Again, just kind of a bizarre little fact about this particular version of the record I have here, but it's not a particularly major complaint I have because, again, the bonus tracks here are pretty okay, and the songs that are on the standard edition of the record are really enjoyable too. So yeah, I am still very much happy that I picked this thing up, even if I do have that kind of minor complaint with it. The next and final vinyl record that I want to show off in today's video is my copy of Run the Jewels 4. I ordered this around the time that the record came out. I believe it was as soon as it was available, just because I really liked the record, and that was in last June, I believe, as in June of 2020, and I got this physical copy itself. I believe it was around September or October of last year, and I'm happy I did. I did really end up enjoying this release. The backside there just has the hand with the number 4 being held up. You can open this up to get some nice artwork there on the inside of this thing, and the records themselves are really nice too. They come on this pink colored vinyl, which is also somewhat translucent, just like barely translucent, and each side of the record is marked by like the hand holding up the, you know, side of the record. Like this is, you know, 2, over here you got 1. Pretty standard stuff, but I do like the color on this thing a lot, especially because it matches the, you know, color on the artwork for the record. In addition to the records themselves, which look really nice, you also get this booklet that comes with the record too. The backside of this just has the track list on it, and basically this booklet has the tracks with their credits as well as the lyrics to them too. You also get some more artwork here on the inside. I believe this is actually the same one that's on the inner fold of the record. Yeah, pretty standard stuff for a record, but I do like the fact that it was included in this little booklet here. And it doesn't feel like super flimsy or anything like that either. Not to say it's like the most sturdy little booklet ever or anything, but, you know, I don't feel like this is going to get damaged by me like flipping through it or something like that. It's nice. It feels nice. The records look really nice, and the packaging on this thing overall is really excellent too. And of course, I do enjoy the music as well, which really just ties everything together and made it a worthwhile purchase for me. So that concludes all the new vinyl additions to my collection. However, I do have some CDs to show off to you guys as well. The first of which is a copy of Big Time Rush's Elevate, a fun record from a show from my childhood. Just a pretty fun pop record overall, nothing super like complex or deep or anything, but the tracks on this thing are pretty fun, and it's a nice little thing to have. Comes in a jewel case, which is pretty nice. You got some more artwork down the back with the track listing. Inside, you got the CD itself. You got a little booklet that comes with this thing too. It's all pretty standard stuff that you're getting with this CD. The inner booklet folds out to have like some lyrics here on one side and like a poster with images on the other. You know, again, nothing that's super ridiculously weird or out there or anything. Pretty standard stuff for a CD, but, you know, it does exactly what I want it to. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, this was a pretty good purchase, at least for me. Fun pop record, like I said before. Nothing that's that ridiculously out there, but it's fun. The next CD that I want to show off is one that's a bit unique. It's actually the box set for the newest Brockhampton record, Roadrunner New Light, New Machine. Here is the box itself. You can see on the front there you have Joba, one of the members of the group, and the reason why he's on the front is because his arc on the album is one of the most important parts of it. If you want to hear more about that, check out my review of the project, just because going into more detail about it here would be a bit much, and would probably make this video longer than it needs to be. But yeah, he's on the front there. You can see it has like this reflective coating to it, I guess. I'm not exactly sure what that's called, but it's cool. On the back you have the title of the record and that stuff. On the top it says, "The light is worth the wait, I promise," one of the quotes from the record itself. And on the sides it says "New Light" on one side and "New Machine" on the other. And now this is just a cardboard box basically. On the inside is the rest of the contents for the box set. One of those, of course, being the actual CD itself, which comes in a jewel case here, which has the standard artwork for the project. The back side just has like the track list on it. And inside you have the CD itself, as well as a little booklet that comes with it. Now, I'm not sure if the contents of this CD are different from the other CDs that they released for this record. I know they dropped like a version for each member of the group pretty much. And I'm not sure if there are any differences with like the insides of those compared to this one. But basically this has this booklet there on the inside. The back says, once again, "The light is worth the wait, I promise." And it opens up just with this photograph really on the inside. Pretty basic stuff, but again, I think it works for the context of this CD. And if you're curious to see what the CD itself looks like that. And the other thing that this came with is actually a t-shirt, which I have here. I think there were multiple versions that were sold with different kinds of t-shirts, but the one I got was the blue colored one. It's got the Brockhampton BH logo thing on the front there. And on the back side, it says Roadrunner New Light, New Machine in that like grayish text. Overall, this is a pretty good shirt in my opinion. I have some other Brockhampton merch, a sweatshirt and a shirt. And personally, this is, at least compared to the other shirt I have, which I got during one of their Iridescence drops, I think I prefer this shirt overall, just because I think it's a bit more roomy on me, even though I believe I got the same size. Not that I dislike the other shirt by any means, but this one is just a little bit more comfortable in my opinion, and I do like the design on this one too. You know, I wasn't really looking to get another piece of Brockhampton clothing just because I already owned, like I said, a shirt and a sweatshirt, and I didn't really need any more in my opinion. But when this box set was revealed, I was kind of interested in getting it because I, like the group a fair amount. I like the box set that they dropped for the Saturation trilogy, and I figured that this would be cool to get as well. And I'm happy I did because I do really like the record. Oh, and one other thing I should mention is that the CD that comes with this thing is the deluxe edition of the record that includes some of the bonus tracks too, which originally were exclusive to this release, but I believe most of them have now been released online, like officially, which, yeah, if you want to hear those bonus tracks, you could just do it on like Spotify or wherever you listen to your music now, but the only way to own it officially, I believe, is on this particular version of the record, though I'm not sure if it's also on the vinyl that they dropped for this too. I did pre-order a copy of that vinyl also, but it's not shipping until like April of next year. So yeah, hopefully I'll get to show that off to you guys in like maybe a year's time when I eventually get it and can listen to it and show it off to you guys and confirm whether or not it has those deluxe edition tracks or not on it. I could probably check now if I wanted to, but I'd have to go digging online to see where I ordered it from and if it has those tracks on it or not. But regardless, I don't really care that much about the bonus tracks. I'm happy to have them, of course, as like a bonus little thing, especially for this box set. But I care more about the standard edition of the record. And, of course, that comes with this box set. Overall, this was a pretty decent box set, in my opinion. I don't think it was quite as good as the Saturation Trilogy box set, because I felt like that one had a bit more to it. But at the same time, I guess it kind of makes sense that this was only like one record, whereas that was technically like 3 records, plus like a whole collection of demos from that era of the group. So it does make sense that this one was a bit, smaller in terms of the scale, even if the box itself is a bit bigger. So yeah, overall I was pretty happy with this. I think the box looks pretty nice. I like the shirt that came with it. Of course, I can't speak to any of the other shirts that were available that could have come with this, but I think they were all somewhat similar to this one in terms of their designs. I think it was mostly just like the color that was different, but I might be wrong on that, and if I am, feel free to correct me in the comments down below. But yeah, overall, I was happy with this. The next CD I want to show off is another one of the more interesting additions to my collection so far. It's Echo 2K's record E, and the artwork for this is pretty interesting on here. Actually, it comes in like this paper sleeve, as you could see there on top of the record, which has like all the lyrics to the record written on it. And you could slide out the main package from that sleeve here. And what you get is this interesting looking case. Of course, it has like a variation of the standard album artwork, I guess. On the standard edition, it's like a white background with like the black letter E, but here you have like this clear package with the white E on it instead. The backside has the track list and other stuff like that. And the way you get this disc out of here is really interesting. It's like this weird package almost, where you have this thing up here that you push down on and it like ejects the CD from it. As you can see here, I'm trying to be careful with this, but yeah, you could eject it from there basically. And the disc itself is pretty cool. On the one side, it has like the Drain Gang logo on it repeated over and over again. And I'm not sure if this particular like model of CD holder is like some kind of commonplace thing that I just never come across before in my life for whatever reason. It might very well be the case, but personally, I've never come across a CD case like this one with like the ejecting disc launcher feature to it. And I think it's really cool. Like, it's odd and strange and unlike anything else in my collection, but that's what I really like about it. The music on the CD itself is of course really good too, and also this CD happens to come with a bonus track as well that you can't get by purchasing the album digitally, though of course I'm sure if you look around online you could find that bonus track if you really want to, and I recommend that you do that because it is a really good song. Yeah, overall I'm pretty happy with my decision to get this CD, because overall not only is it a really unique, CD itself, or maybe not CD itself, but rather CD packaging itself, I guess, when compared to most of the other stuff in my collection, but also because the music itself on it is really great and enjoyable as well. I'm just really disappointed that I happened to miss the recent vinyl drop of the same album that happened like a few weeks back. I was at work, didn't even see that it was like dropped, and by the time I got to seeing it, it was already all sold out. So hopefully more vinyl pressings of this record will be released at some point in the future, and hopefully I will be able to get a copy because I do really love this record, and I really hope to have it on vinyl someday as well. But I guess for right now, CD will have to do, and with its really unique packaging, it's still not a purchase that I regret by any means. It's a great record. Definitely give it a listen if you haven't already. Yeah, I don't really have any complaints with it. The next and final CD that I want to share with you guys today is the newest full-length album from Fax Gang, Aethernet. This came out earlier this year, and I haven't had a chance to talk about it on the channel to any extent as of making this video. And I do want to talk about it in a bit more detail one day, probably when I do some sort of catch-up review talking about releases from this year that I happen to have some opinions on. But I guess for right now, I'm going to have to talk about it a little bit here because I happened to pick up a physical copy of this because I really enjoyed this record. Overall, it's this really cool cloud rap project with really distorted vocals, some really great instrumentals too, super catchy moments on this thing as well. Overall, it's become one of my favorite releases of 2021 so far, and it's one that if you haven't heard, and my description I gave of it before sounds like something that it would appeal to you, definitely give this a listen because I don't think you will regret it. But yeah, because I like this album as much as I did, I decided to get it on CD. There isn't a vinyl release of this as far as I'm concerned, so this was about as good as I could do. And overall, I'm pretty happy with what I got here. The CD itself is really nice. You got the artwork there on the front, as you would expect. The backside has the track list listed there. You open it up, there's no little booklet that comes with this or anything. Like the front of this is just like a flap, basically, of cardboard. And on the inside, you just have the CD itself. Pretty standard stuff, but probably the most interesting thing about this release is that it also came with like a CD shard, or at least that's what it's called on the Bandcamp page where I ordered this from. I still have it in like the little plastic bag it came in here just because I'm not really sure what to do with this exactly or where I would put it, but for right now I just had it sitting on like my shelf with all my CDs on it. Yeah, I guess it's kind of a interesting little thing that came with this. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with this going forward, like I said before, but it's a nice little something extra, I guess, that came with the album. Overall, it's a good album. I think the packaging on it is pretty good. You know, it's not the most elaborate or complex packaging that a CD could possibly have, but given that the artist in question is a bit of a smaller artist, you know, it's to be expected for the packaging to not be super extravagant or anything like that. And for a smaller artist, I think the packaging is pretty good. And the inclusion of this little thing here is interesting. And I think it kind of works with the aesthetic and the feel of the record, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that's all of the newest additions to my CD and vinyl collections. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the stuff that I've gotten over the past year, and I'm hoping that going forward I will be getting some more vinyl records and CDs, especially now that Bandcamp has stopped that, you know, Bandcamp Monday or Friday, whatever it was, where they were giving all that money to the artist in question on that particular first Friday of the month. And I think I'm going to be, you know, because of that, I'm going to be moving towards getting more vinyl records and CDs again, and hopefully I'll have another one of these videos coming out probably in a half a year or something like that, instead of making you guys wait a whole nother year. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. You know, if some of the other records that I happen to order or anything like that, Brockhampton vinyl I mentioned earlier, they may not be in for like another year or so. You know, so we'll have to wait and see, I guess. I don't want to give away too many details about some other records I may have ordered already, and will hopefully be showing off in hopefully the near future and not the far future. But yeah, this was a fun collection of releases I happened to pick up. Hopefully you guys will check out some of these releases, maybe if not getting them physically, at least just listening to the music on them, because all of the records I've showcased here today are really good when it comes to the quality of the music, in addition to having, you know, good vinyl or CD releases paired along with them. So yeah, that's all I had to share with you guys today. Feel free to share your own recent additions to your own CD, vinyl, cassette, whatever it may be, collections down in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, make sure you also leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more music related content, things like album reviews, discussion videos, more CD and vinyl collection update videos too. Yeah, thank you guys for watching this video once again, and stay golden.